You become another Nazim? Huh? What do you want, Your Majesty?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What does it mean to be satisfied with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And how can we follow this if we cannot identify His will from ours? For example, if someone has a proposal, should he or she accept it thinking that it's the will of Allah, even though he or she is not fully satisfied?
If you don't have a shaykh, your shaykh is shaitan. Done. You need a guide. A shaykh is your guide. You need a guide. Follow your guide. Follow your guide. Why I need a guide? Why I have to have a guide? Why you have to have a doctor? Why you have to have a doctor? You know your own body. You have a body. You know your body. Why you have to have someone to tell you what your body is saying to you, what your body needs? Nobody ever says, I don't need a doctor. But everybody says, I don't need a guide. How am I supposed to know? How are you supposed to know? Your guide is going to tell you. Because who is that guide? That guide is a representative of the Prophet. Who is the Prophet? The representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How are you going to know? You're going to consult. The same way that you don't know about your body, although you're living in it, you're going to consult to someone who has been trained to know not only your body, his body, everyone's physical body as well. So that time, you will try to understand. You're going to understand what is the will of Allah, as you spoke about earlier. What is the will of Allah? And what is your will? And the will of other people. First, before we get to understand, say it properly. You're going to sleep? Before we understand, try to understand what is the will. What is will? How you say will? Irada. Because now we have to say the Arabic, irada. It's not will. Irada is such a high and heavy word. It is coming with such heaviness now. Before you even understand what is will, what is irada, you have to understand what is speaking to you. Who is whispering to you? Who you're listening to inside. When you're thinking, which voice is coming to you? Who are those voices? Is it your mother? Or is it your teacher? Is it a book you read somewhere? Or is it something that you're imagining or something that you're dreaming? So now, before you understand what is will, what is irada, you have to understand now, first, what is coming from Rahman and what is coming from Shaitan. What is coming from our Lord and what is coming from our ego. So now, before you understand the will of Allah, you have to understand your ego. You have to understand your nafs. You have to understand what is nafs, what is shaitan, what is dunya and what is hawa. If you don't understand this, you will not understand what is the will. Then you're going to mix up. You think this is the will of Allah, but it's actually just your ignorance. You think it is the will of Allah, but it's just you being in ghaflat. Oh, why that accident happened? Oh, it's the will of Allah. But so many times, not so many times, every time, when there is an accident, somebody is at fault. Maybe both at fault, but definitely not, and never both are innocent. It is just the will of Allah. It ever happen in the history of this world? It ever happen? Your accident, police are coming, you say, what happened here? Oh, it's the will of Allah. Never. You know by your own intelligence, something is there that happened. And what is your place in it? What is your action? What is your contribution to that? First, you have to know that. Then, you're going to know why. You're going to ask why. Okay, it is my fault. I speed up. Why did you speed up? Oh, I don't know. Not good enough. Then you dig deeper. Oh, I speed up because I got scared. Why I got scared? You're going to dig a little bit deeper. I got scared because I thought this one was going to hit me, but I ended up hitting this one. Why is that? Because I refused to look around me and to be aware of everything. I'm jumping from one thing to another. I'm not focused. So you go deeper and deeper. Your action, your will, caused that accident to happen. Now you're going to understand what is your will. Whether your will, your action, your will, it is according to Allah, what Allah and His Prophet is saying to do, or you're doing it just because your ego is saying, go that way. Don't care about nothing. Be in a panic mode. Don't think. Which is why they're saying the Naqshbandi way. It is removing the veils. You must remove the veils. But you're going to remove the veils that is closest to Allah. You're not going to remove the veils close to you. Remove the veils close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, consult with someone who has more knowledge than you. He may tell you something. You say, I don't want to have a sheikh, then that's another big problem. So many people say, this sheikh doesn't fit me, this sheikh doesn't fit me. So proud they're saying that. It is. It's like a student saying, this teacher is not good enough for me. This teacher is. Find one teacher, that's all. Find one teacher first. Stick. Your ego doesn't like it. Find one. Learn. Then if you say, I need to learn more, find another one. Learn. But stay or go, don't do it according to your ego. Inshallah. In the old days, people are more intelligent. They don't know. In the old days, people are more intelligent because they want to know. So they go to the best sources to get that knowledge. These days, people are ignorant because they don't go anywhere for knowledge. They think they have knowledge. They don't go anywhere for knowledge. And in matters like this, where you have to go to a spiritual guide, that one must be the complete arrogant and ignorant one to say, I don't want to go. In the old days, they want to look for knowledge. These days, people say, no, knowledge has to come to me. Once you start consulting properly, your guide will guide you. He's not going to tell you right off also. Going to force you. He's going to guide you. Because so many people, even if the guide says, don't go left, go right, they will go left. Because so many, their egos are not trained. They're with the guide, but the guys don't train them for their ego, and they don't want to be trained for the ego. Because they say, a guide is there just to give me, throw candy at me. Any question I have, he has to give me an answer. Anything I want, I just tell him, make a dua, he's supposed to give it to me. He cannot interfere into my life and tell me what to think or how to behave. That is a guide. You understand? That is a sheikh. So many people are treating them like that. That is wrong. At that time, with a guide, you're still following your ego. So inshallah, follow properly. Allow yourself to be trained. We have to. Otherwise, we're going to be in very big trouble. We're going to be trained under the ground to submit. If you cannot submit now, we're going to teach you how to submit later. Fatiha. Assalamu alaikum.